So now how the planar transmission line can be realized. So if you take the PCB, whatever you have already seen, so you have put the lumped components and you might have soldered it. So in the similar way, only the circuit pattern based on the transmission line methodology, either you just you can take an example of matching circuit in the transmission line where you are matching from input side to the output load. Okay, so where you are running the some thickness and some width of the transmission line. Okay, say for example, if you take simple example, so if you have the transmission line like this, okay, something like this, say for example a simple 2-port transmission line. Okay, this is a port 2 and this is a port 1. Okay, only this will be having some width W and this will be some length L, and also you might have just insert some other transmission line like this. Okay, so open circuited transmission line somewhere here. So these patterns, so this is like some metallic portion. Okay, so this is the metallic portion. Okay, so this is also metallic portion where the signal energy flows in this the metallic portion or conductive material. Okay, from port 1 to port 2, and some other if you have inserted like to match the port 1 to the characteristic impedance of this line like that. So any metallic pattern, so if you take, so this will maybe call it as planar transmission line. So it will be in the plane. Okay, so where you will be having a PCB material of some thickness. Okay, so this will be having some thickness. Okay, on top of this you will be having some metallic pattern. Okay, so like this, so this planar version of the circuit pattern can be realized. So that's why, so if
Sir,
you
we can't
use,
see the PPT.
Can't see the, sir, we can't see the slides.
yeah, so here, is it fine? So now is it fine? Okay, so this is actually, say for example, transmission line, and you have some other stub matching stubs which will be there, and so this is a metallic pattern. So if you are running or if you connected port 1 and port 2 and the signal flows in this metallic pattern, so something like, so you have the
Audio has low voice, sir.
audio
Audio has low voice, sir. We cannot
low.
hear.
Oh, that's fine. Earlier it was fine, or now it is fine?
No, sir, sometimes it is breaking in between, sir.
Why it is happening? I change the port also. Now it is fine. Hello. Now is it fine?
No, sir.
Now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what I discussed. This is the transmission line, okay, which is running from port 1 to port 2, and say some matching circuits you have designed. So something like open circuited stuff, and this is a metallic portion. So now we have seen the PCB material which will be having some thickness. So say for example some 0.8 mm or 1.6 mm. So in the lumped circuit, what you will do? So this is, say for example, PCB. Okay, it will be having some thickness, Okay, and you might have connected like some resistor or some inductors like this, capacitors, something like this. You have soldered end to end and you have connected. So similar way in the PCB, just a circuit pattern like the metallic pattern, which is transmission lines, which you have etched out of from the PCB, then we will call that as planar transmission line. So now what are all the types of planar transmission lines are there, and what are its advantages we will going to see. Okay, so this is one of the example. If you see the planar transmission line, so there will be a strip that is actually the metallic pattern, which is closed by the two dielectric materials, two substrate materials. Say if you take example, one PCB is here and another PCB is here, so you close that one, in between some metallic pattern is running. Okay, so like that, so you can etch it out, and this one we'll call it as a strip line. Okay, and another planar techniques also there, so we'll see one by one. So by using this planar transmission line, what actually it will become, so the miniaturization of the microwave circuits, it will be huge development. That means you need not to go for soldering, or you need not to go for even lumped elements itself. You can realize it as a transmission line parameters and transmission line metallic portions, so that even that and other microwave circuits you can integrate it in the same PCB, so in the same material, substrate material. So that is one of the advantage. The circuit, whole circuit, whatever you design, say for example application of low noise amplifier, there you will realize the input matching circuit and output matching circuit of a transistor. So the transistor also you can implement by the surface mounting technique, and the matching circuits and output matching circuits in terms of transmission line, all these it will come in a single PCB substrate. So that is what miniaturization. So that will happen through this, using this planar transmission line. And what are the advantages? So it will be very low profile. You might have known the PCB, how much it will be, the size of that. Even you can cut it in terms of how much, 30 mm by 30 mm or 20 mm, how much you want. Based on that you etch the pattern or etch the circuit, and based on that you can cut the PCB and you can make it as low profile. And the height, you might have seen what is the height of the or thickness of the PCB material. It may be like around like 1 mm or 2 mm in the form of millimeter. Okay, so that's why this will become very easier for fabrication of microwave circuits. And lightweight, so the weight will be in terms of very few grams, and also it will be very flat. There is no like bending or any other like not conformal. Even you can make it as the thickness of the PCB material to a very low level, and it can be made it as conformal also. Conformal in the sense you can like say for example, if the surface is cylindrical or any other surface, like if you take an example of aircraft, so that we can mount the circuit pattern on the other type of surfaces also. But here in the planar transmission line, we can take the flat type of circuits, so there is no bending kind of thing. Okay, and two are multi-conductor transmission line. So here you can see only one conductor is running, and even you can run the multi-conductor transmission line. So if you just take an example, so if you just take an example of CPW, say for example, that we'll discuss later what is that coplanar line. So coplanar line, so you can run multiple conductors like this. Okay, so CPW is one of the actual multi-conductor line, because this will, so if you take a CPW structure, coplanar waveguide, so this will act as a metallic pattern. Okay, so this is also acts as a metallic pattern, which acts as a ground plane in CPW, and this will also a metallic pattern. In between there is a gap. Okay, so this is actually the conductors, and this will act as a ground plane, and this conductor which will carry the signal. Okay, this is kind of CPW structure, and in which it will be used multi-conductor system. Another, if you take an example, just a 2-conductor system. So this will be a something like your substrate, and you can use 2 conductors. So this is one conductor, and even this is another conductor. So this kind of multi-conductor systems also you can use. Okay, so this is about the 2-conductor system. So, and also this, by varying this control the width and this width of the and width and thickness of the conductor lines, whatever you use, so this can be controlled, so that impedance of these lines can be controlled through this width and the thickness of the conductor. Okay, so that is another important parameter. So because the characteristic impedance of the line whichever we designed is very important, because that characteristic impedance we need to say, for example, if you excite this line with a port, okay, if you use a port like any exciting method, if you use like coaxial connector, so that excitation we will see how it can be done. Say for example, if you are using a coaxial SMA connector, so if you excite this line by that, so the impedance of this, whatever in general it is available 50 ohm in the market, this SMA connectors, so that will be matched to this line. So then only the signal power will be transferred, and it will be very much maximally delivered to the other port. Okay, so this matching is very important. So that's why by using this W and T, so the Z0, the impedance of the line can be controlled. So when you control the impedance of the line, then we can able to transmit the signal energy from one port to other port maximally. Okay, so that's why this controlling of impedance is very important. So control of this impedance is very important and much suitable for micro integrated circuits. As I said, so this all the circuit components, if you say active devices as well as passive devices or passive circuits, it will be integrated into a single PCB line. So that's why it's very much suitable, this planar transmission line in a MIC technology, that is micro integrated circuits. And the circuit pattern can be fabricated once using thin film technology or photolithography technique. So either you can use also etching technique also, and even you can use laser technique also to etch out the whichever the desired pattern, and you can omit or you can etch out the undesired pattern. So generally the PCB material, it will come in both sides. Okay, similar like say for example, this is your exact substrate material. Okay, so the conductive material, it will come both sides like this. Both the sides there will be a conductive material will be there. So this can be etched out wherever you want. Say for example, only this much portion if I want, and if I want to etch, then you can etch it out. Other portion you can etch it out by only remaining this portion will be remained as it is. That is the etching technique, and you can use that one in terms of mechanical etching also. Okay, mechanical etching. So the different techniques to etch out that circuit pattern you can use, and even lithography technique, as I said. So by transform the UV light or any laser light onto the PCB material, wherever the circuit pattern it will be there, it will remain as it is, and other copper cladding or conductive material, it will be etched out. So that's how you will going to be fabricate. So any other any form of technique you can use to etch out the desired pattern. Okay, so this is an example for strip line, and this is an example for microstrip line. Okay, So there are some four basic forms, that is strip line, as I said earlier. So this is a strip line and this is a micro strip line. And if you see in the general circuit PCB pattern, say for example this is the material, whatever yellow color it is having, that is the substrate material, and whatever the gray color which is showing here, this is actually the conductive material. It will be there in the both sides, and whichever it is needed and you remain as it is, and others you can etch out. Okay, so this is an example for microstrip line, and this is actually the slot line. So there will be a gap and etched out conductive material, and other two it will be remain as it is and it acts as a conductive material. So this is a slot line, and as I said, CPW, it is a coplanar waveguide structure. So where there is a center conductor and there will be a gap between the two other conductors, which will be called as ground planes. Okay. So now coming to the strip lines. So what exactly is strip lines? So the strip line, as I said, so it will be the center conductor will be there having some thickness and as well as some width, and this conductor will be placed in between two substrates. Okay, so it is like this, so you can better view. So this is like one form of substrate, and you can in between there is a strip of width and thickness, and you can use another substrate. So this is another substrate. So in between two substrates there will be a conductor. So this is an actual strip or conductor. Okay, so this thickness we can take it as H, and both the substrate we can take it as B, the thickness of the conductor or height of the substrate, and this is a conductor which is having a width W, and this is the thickness which is T. Okay, and wherever if you take the center part of the conductor from the edges, so this will take it as D, and so this distance will take it from the center of the conductor as D. So now how this D varies with the characteristic impedance, all these curves will be available, and we can see how it will be varied. Okay, so now as I said, it consists of central conductor of width W, which is far greater than T. That means this condition should be met so that your efficient power transfer wherever you use from port 1 to port 2 or something like that, so it will be very much efficient. And conductor placed inside the low loss dielectric of thickness B between two wide ground planes. So here as I said, the ground planes will be there again here. There are two substrate as I said, and both the sides there will be a ground plane. And the fields, how the fields will be going to form in this one. So the fields will be exactly, it will go to the ground plane from the center conductor. Okay, this is actually the field lines. So now if you come to the edges, exactly it will only at the edge portion it will be like a fringing fields, so which will be called it as fringing fields. So like this. Okay, at the center it will be maximum the field lines which will directly go, and at the edges it will slightly die off with respect to this conductor edges to the substrate edge. Okay, so this is how the field will be going to be formed, and since the conductor is in between the two substrate, so it will exhibit pure TEM waves. Okay, it exhibits pure TEM waves. So what is TEM? TEM is transverse electromagnetic. That means, say for example, if your propagation is in X direction, or say for example x, z, y, if you take, if your propagation is in z direction, okay, and your electric field and magnetic field both are perpendicular to the propagation direction. So this TEM mode of propagation exhibit in the strip line. So if you take TE or TM, only the electric or magnetic field will be perpendicular to the propagation direction. That we'll call it as TE wave or TM wave, or in general we will call it as, so since the TE or TM will be form some pattern, so that we'll call it as a mode. Okay, the field will be it will form some kind of pattern, say for example like this, the field lines. So this kind of some kind of pattern which will exhibit by electric or magnetic field, that will call it as a mode. Okay, so now you may come across some TE modes or TM modes like that. Okay, in the waveguide you might have studied already. So this kind of some field pattern, if it is available, then it will be called it as mode. Then you may exhibit TE mode or TM mode. Okay, so this TM mode, in the TM mode what will happen, the magnetic field will be always perpendicular to the propagation direction, and TE mode, electric field will be always perpendicular to the propagation direction. So in this strip line, so as I said, so it will exhibit pure TEM wave of propagation. Okay, so the propagation mode in this is TEM mode, and field lines are perpendicular to conductor and parallel to the ground plane. So these field lines, as I said, you can see. So if you take the ground plane, generally it will be fringing fields, it will be parallel, and in the conductor, if you take perpendicular to the ground plane always. Okay, so and at the edges there will be a fringing fields, as I said. Okay, so this will be formed by the strip line. Okay, and if you want to calculate the characteristic impedance of this strip line, how you will calculate? So by using these equations you can able to calculate the characteristic impedance. Okay, so now when B is less than lambda, the field cannot propagate in the transverse direction and decreases exponentially. Now what is B, which I actually said that this B. Okay, so if the B is far less than lambda, okay, if this condition if exists, okay, so if it is slightly less than lambda, so then field cannot propagate, because so the fields in the transverse direction, in the sense this is a transverse direction. So when it actually approaches this wavelength, so actually the field propagation dies off. So why? Because this thickness of the substrate, all whatever the in between conductor two substrates thickness are there, B, which is almost far less than lambda, then it will become, the fields will become, so this will going to reduce, so this height will going to reduce compared to lambda. So then the field will not going to the ground plane. So that's why it is decay exponentially like this. Okay, when B is less than lambda, so the wave field propagation or field which is going from central conductor to the ground plane, it will decay exponentially. So okay, so this is condition you need to take care while designing the strip line. And the energy is confined inside the line and line cross section provided with the width A of the ground plane. So this energy will be actually confined within the conductor surrounding and within the substrate, and you will be having the loss in this dielectric substrate also, and there will be a loss in the conductor also, that we will call it as alpha C, that is a conductor loss, and this will be call it as dielectric loss. So that's why, so generally the loss in the dielectric will be very high compared to the conductor loss. So that's why generally the substrate will be always preferred as low loss dielectric. Okay, that is generally, if you take a low loss dielectrics example, it will be a Rogers. Okay, it will be a Rogers, something like 5880, which is having a epsilon value of 2.2 and delta, which is actually the loss, whatever we call it as that alpha d, that delta which will be equal to 0.00, generally 0.002. So that's why this type of substrates, it is very much preferable in order to reduce the loss. Okay, so commonly used dielectrics, Teflon, olefin and polystyrene. So these are the, for the strip lines, since we need two substrate in between conductor, so these are the preferable substrate. And as I said, if you want to use low loss substrate, you can go for the Rogers material. Okay, and the frequency range, this strip line can be designed from 100 megahertz to 30 gigahertz. Okay, so this is the actual characteristic impedance, how we can strip line characteristic impedance you can able to calculate, which is equal to 30 by root epsilon or ln of 2 into root of 1 plus root k, and this k will be defined it as in terms of width and the height of the substrate. So this you have known already, b as the complete height of the complete thickness of the substrate, and w is the width of the conductor. So as I said here, w is the width of the conductor. So by taking that parameters, you can calculate what is the intermediate variable k, and by using this k you can calculate the impedance of the strip line. Now only this impedance calculation will be used only for this w by b ratio less than or equal to 0.5. Okay, so the width of the conductor by the height of the substrate, if you take the ratio, if it is less than 0.5, then you can use this equation. Otherwise you have to use this equation, that is 30 pi square root epsilon or ln of 2 into 1 plus root of k dash. So where k dash again we need to define in terms of w by b, which is square root of 1 minus k square. Whatever you calculated k, the k dash will be square root of 1 minus k square, or you can use tan h of pi w by 2b. So both can be used to calculate the coefficient or intermediate variable k dash. Okay, so this is actually the impedance of the strip line. So now how this impedance will be varied with respect to different parameters. So that is T by B ratio or W by B ratio. So generally that curves will be, you can see if you take the variation of Z, okay, Z by root epsilon, or if you take, and if you take W by B ratio, so generally it will be vary, and here from 80, 100, like this it will be vary, something like 300 up to you can take in between, and W by ratio it is 0.2, 0.3 up to you can take some 3 and 4. So if you just take in rough way, so this for a T by B, for a particular value of thickness, so the curves will vary like this. So generally the impedance will decreases if we increase the W by B ratio. So say for example this thickness is T by B is something like 0.01, and this is 0.2, and something like 0.3. So like this the curves will vary with respect to the W by B, the impedance curves will vary with respect to W by B for a particular thickness of the conductor. Okay, in the similar way you can vary, so the curves will vary, the impedance curves will vary with respect to even D by B. So the center of the value at the center, so you can see here. Okay, I deleted that one. So say for example this is substrate and this is conductor and this is another substrate. Okay, so this is actually W, and from the center if you take, this is the D value. So D with respect to the height of the substrate B, and if you vary the characteristic impedance of B by B, Z0 by root epsilon R. So something like the curves will drop like this for a particular T by B. So the similar kind of this characteristic impedance variation you might have, you can see with respect to D also, and even other W by B we have seen and d by b we have seen, and even t by b also you can see with respect to z naught, that is z naught by root epsilon r and t by b. So this also some curves it will come similar like this only for a particular w by b. Here this is for particular w by b values. Okay, so like this the impedance variations even you can see it will be available. So I cannot draw all the curves here. So these are the some of the impedance variation with respect to what are the ratios, that is w by b, t by b and d by b. Okay, so these are the two equations you have to use for calculating the impedance values of the strip line. Okay, so now for this is for actually zero thickness values, that means t equal to almost tending to 0. Okay, so that t values you have to if it is a zero thickness then you can use this equation, and if it is non-zero thickness of the center strip, so of a symmetrical strip line, so this is actually the equation you have to use. That equation arrived using the one of the technique which will be called as conformal transformation technique, and by using this technique they have arrived the impedance equation. So this is the impedance equation, that is 94.15 divided by root epsilon r. So these are all the actual variables. So you can calculate what is k. It depends on t by b ratio, 1 over 1 minus t by b, and Cf is the fringing capacitance, and this will be calculated by using this equation. Okay, so epsilon r is the substrate the dielectric constant. So whatever you use, like FR4 if you use it will be 4.4, and Rogers if you use 2.2, that is specified by the separate substrate materials. Okay, and for large W by B the strip line can be completely shielded to avoid radiation. So that means if you have for large WB, so the radiation effects can be avoided by putting in a closed metallic shielding, so then that radiation effects will be reduced. Okay, so for completely closed strip line with large W there is more uniform TEM fields. Okay, so the uniform, as I said, the mode of propagation is TEM. So the mode of propagation is TM. For large W, that is width of the conductor, the field will be very much uniform. So when you take from say for example if you have like this a strip line, so this is one substrate, we have a strip line like this center conductor, and again if you place another conductor on this. Okay, so the field lines are very much uniform. Okay, so it will be everywhere it is uniform along this conductor, the field lines. Okay, so it is uniform when this strip thickness strip width is very much large, the W. So when you take large width, so the field which is coming out of the conductor, it is very much significant and it will be uniform. Okay, so due to fringing effect, the fringing capacitance increases and characteristic impedance decreases. So as I said, the fringing fields are there from center to the edge of the conductor. So because of the fringing field effect, the capacitance, the fringing capacitance increases. Okay, so since this K is dependent on substrate height also, so if you increase the substrate height, definitely this ratio will affect the K, so that K will affect the again fringing capacitance. So based on that substrate height also, this capacitance will be we can for the particular application within the specified limit we can able to put it the fringing capacitance, and also the characteristic impedance decreases. So by using this we can even control the characteristic impedance also. Now the propagation mode, how we will calculate the guided wavelength. So as we already discussed, the guided wavelength is very important for any mode propagation or mode calculation, which will be equal to lambda by root epsilon. So this is actually the free space wavelength. Okay, this is free space wavelength, which is equal to lambda equal to c by f. Okay, so this free space wavelength, in particular lambda g, if you want to calculate, it should be divided by epsilon, because that the conductor is bonded in between the two substrates. So the substrate value of that and that dielectric constant of that substrate will be epsilon r. So you will calculate by using this equation, the guided wavelength. So now the length of the conductor for a particular resonance. Okay, say for example, if I want to design this strip line at some f equal to 3 gigahertz, okay, then the lambda g, the length will be calculated in terms of lambda g. Okay, so that's why you need to calculate what is lambda g in terms of this equation. So then only for a particular frequency we can decide the length. Okay, so in general, lambda g in terms of frequency, if you want to calculate, which is f into root epsilon r. So for a particular frequency you can calculate lambda g. Based on that lambda g, you will find what is the length of that strip line we need to design. Okay, so this is how the design calculation it will happen. So the propagation mode and guide wavelength. Okay, so this is lambda naught. So generally you can take free space wavelength as lambda or lambda naught. Generally that notation will be a lambda naught. Okay, so free space wavelength. So now coming to the next one. So the higher order modes in strip lines. So how that higher order modes, in the sense whatever the maximum radiation which will come from the strip line, which will be called as fundamental mode, and the radiation will generally it will be divided in different direction when you go for the higher order mode. And even if you can modify the structural parameter or the structure of the strip line, so that the higher order modes also can be like transfer the energy efficiently. That also we can make it possible. Okay, so how these higher order modes in the strip lines it will be look like with respect to some structural parameter or dimensional parameters. So the operating bandwidth of strip line is considerably large for TEM mode. So since the field is uniform in the TEM mode in the strip line, so that's why the operating bandwidth will be very much larger, and this bandwidth will be calculated through this higher order modes, or the bandwidth can be calculated by decided by the nearest modes which are there. You can take the cutoff wavelength of the nearest modes and you can calculate the bandwidth. Okay, so this is what the cutoff wavelengths. So for the particular higher order modes, say for example this is one higher order mode and this is one higher order mode. Say for example TEM is the fundamental mode, and this one is higher order mode, and this another one higher order mode. By taking the cutoff wavelength of this, so we can calculate the bandwidth. So this is a cutoff wavelength for the TM11 mode, which is equal to 2b by root epsilon r, and TE10, this will be equation. So you can use this equation for calculating the higher order mode cutoff wavelength. And as I said, the characteristic impedance which will be derived for the non-zero thickness of strip line using transformation techniques, that is conformal transformation techniques. In the similar way, the cutoff wavelengths also can be derived using this technique, or even numerical methods you can use, like FEM based method, or even method of moments based also you can use, and you can calculate it. Okay, so coming to the even if you just plot the mode of propagation, higher order mode, so something like it will be TE11, it will be like this, and generally TE10 and TM10. So with respect to that the thickness, and here so this is, say for example, thickness of the substrate. So something like here it will vary the higher order modes. Okay, and here it will be maybe if you take Z0 value, the characteristic impedance, so it will vary like this. Okay, so this is the higher order modes how it will be vary. Okay, so if you come to the losses in the strip line, what are all the losses? As I said already, the dielectric loss and the conductor loss. Okay, so that dielectric and conductor loss you can calculate using the equations, that is alpha C and alpha D. So this is actually alpha D, this is alpha D. Okay, so this is alpha C, so you can use this equation in terms of width, height of the substrate and thickness, and this RS is the actual the resistivity. So you can calculate that RS using this equation. So pi f mu by sigma, that is square root of this much. Okay, and even the dielectric loss, as I said, this tan delta will be specified in the data sheet of the substrates. You can look into that, what is the value for a particular substrate material, and you know what is lambda g. So this how we will calculate dielectric loss as well as the conductor loss. Okay, so this equation you can use for only the W is greater than 2V and thickness which is less than or equal to B by 10. So you can use the conductor loss calculation when the condition is this much. Okay, so these are the some different losses in the strip lines. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll continue in the other form of the lines and even the strip line. Slightly that excitation of the strip line is remaining, so we'll do that in the next class. Okay, I'll stop.